I'm a huge fan. Our first conversation really was just about me being a massive fan, and I always consider myself a student of this business. So directors, that's one of my huge goals is to, before I leave this business, to direct a film. So I always try to learn from great directors like Knight, and I try to study them as much as I can and watch their process and watch what camera angles they use and why they use them. So that was it. Our first conversation was really about his films and the films that I've loved, particularly The Sixth Sense. It was that I will never forget seeing that film for the first time. It just blew me away, everything about it. And working with him was a different experience than I've ever had in my life. And it was just because he's, and I don't want to make this sound negative when I say it, but he's a very, very demanding director. He requires a lot from his actors. He asks a lot from his actors, which for me is a great thing, and I think most people will agree with me because it just makes it challenging. He doesn't make it easy. He makes it very challenging. And it's just the thought process that he makes challenging. And so everything's a full-on conversation rather than a very simple direction, which I love about him because you get into this very deep, emotional, philosophical conversations about, just a certain chunk of dialogue or what's going through your mind or what a character has experienced in the past and what he's dealing with, and so how he's conveying his emotions throughout the scene. But it was just a full-on exhausting process, and I love him for it. I love that he challenged me every day. I love him and appreciate him for it. No, I wish I could take credit for it, but for one, I didn't have time to prepare, but also, to be honest with you, I don't really prepare for roles because I don't want to overthink things. I don't want to over-rehearse things in my head because, and this was advice that I got early in my career, not to over-prepare because you may build up one thing in your head and the director may want something completely different. So be very open-minded, be professional, learn your dialogue, but really go to set with an open mind. Because if you have a director and other actors and you're all on different pages because you've over-prepared and you've had your own personal thoughts, then you'll end up clashing and there will be no chemistry. So I'm a very flexible actor. I don't over-rehearse. I improv a lot, which there was no room for in this film. So what I did was, again, every day I just had a conversation with Knight about the character and what he was feeling, what he was thinking. And a lot of times my instincts were wrong. They weren't what he wanted. There was certain times when I felt, certain parts were more emotional, and he would always remind me that, yes, this is emotional. What you're going through is emotional, but you have to remember that Leonard has this responsibility and that responsibility. So he's fighting with these emotions. He's struggling with these emotions because he's on a mission, and it's a mission that he doesn't want to be on. So it's like a constant, like layers and layers and layers of emotions. And every day on that film, I just doubted. I doubted myself completely, and I just relied on him. If he was happy, and I was happy. I'm pretty proud of it. I see when I look back, it seems still very surreal to me. I think, the choices that I made early in my career, were hard because I passed up on roles that I could have made a lot of money with, and I passed up on them because I didn't want to be put in a box as far as acting. And so it was the long route. I went the long route, and it feels like within the last year or so, maybe the last couple of years, I've really kind of gotten to where I wanted to be all along. And so now the roles that I wanted when I was younger and wasn't being offered are now coming my way, like Knock at the Cabin and Dune, like these great character pieces that are just purely dramatic roles. And that's what I got into this business for, is because I loved that and I wanted to be that type of actor. So I think, I'm very proud of my career. I'm proud of my choices. They were hard choices, but I know now that I feel validated because they were the right choices.